What's happening with gold? When we sell, it's not breaking the support. When we buy, it gets stuck again and again at the same level, 3400. It's back at 3400 for the fifth time. Is it going to break this level? We need to find out technically, and it will be covered today. Now, US Federal Reserve, it is anticipated that they will bring down the rates in September, which should weaken the dollar. But what is the right method to trade USD pairs? I'm going to talk about in today's video. Bank of England, they dropped the rates by 0.25 basis points, but they have given a hawkish view. Again, GBP gets stuck neither bullish nor bearish. And what about crude oil? Now, crude oil, after last month's spike, now there is no geopolitical tension, which means that crude oil inventory may rise and there will be a drop in the prices. But what is the exact target? And finally, in the coming week, we have Bank of Australia coming up with the monetary policy. So we need to understand in today's analysis how we should trade in the coming week. All right, so let's begin with our chart analysis. But today, before I take you to the charts, I want to show you the greed and fear index. So right now I'm referring to CNN business website, and here the greed and fear index displays that market is favoring greed, which means low risk instruments will not be favored, high risk instruments will be favored. So let's begin with our chart analysis now. And the first is dollar index. I would quickly move to monthly chart here. I'll clean my existing setup and I'm gonna zoom out here. So based on the monthly frame, sorry, this is pound dollar. So back to dollar index, I need to clear my charts. And based on the monthly frame, first I would like to connect the retracement from the previous highest to the lowest, because the bull run from the bottom is basically corrective against the previous downward trend. So I'm going to check retracement here. Let's quickly apply, starting from the highest to the lowest. Done. And now I would like to apply one more retracement from the lowest to the highest, because I want to see how much is the drop here against the latest upside. And we have divergence between the two highs. So H1, H2 identified, and this is the breakout structure point. So all these points would be taken into account while applying the retracement and a rising trend line. So let's apply retracement starting from the lowest to the recent most highest point. And I'm gonna add a rising trend line here. Now I'm gonna zoom in. And here I can find that market dollar index is sitting at a confluence of support. So this is the support. Let's highlight with blue, and the nearest resistance comes here. Let's highlight with red. So magnet resistance, magnet support identified. Now I'm moving to weekly, and on the weekly frame I can see that sellers, they lost momentum, and we got the continuing style of bullish divergence on the weekly frame. Now the problem is we were anticipating a rise, and I was expecting that dollar index will quickly move to the trend line, the broken trend line, or the highlighted resistance area, magnet area, but there is no momentum. I can see that MACD histogram is still bullish, but the market is moving very slowly. There is no momentum to the upside. I cannot apply any ABC structure here, so I'm moving to daily chart now. Now on the basis of daily frame, we have bullish divergence here, and this divergence is also applicable on MACD histogram and MACD line. So double bullish divergence. So based on the divergence, I'm going to apply here the breakout structure line. So breakout structure applied, which did not happen, but I can connect a falling trend line here. So I'll start from the highest and I'll pass the falling trend line from the BUS point. So falling trend line is breached. So buyers have taken the control here, but at the same time I can see that histogram has again changed to bearish, which means the bullish momentum is missing. I'll quickly apply downward retracement from the BUS point to the lowest, and I'm anticipating that buyers can stop around 78 to 85. So this is the closest resistance, so which is in terms of numbers at 100.50 to 100.85, and the strong support area is always between 14.6 to 23.6. So this is the I can say closest area of support and resistance. Now I'll move to 4H. Now on 4-hourly chart, again it's a mixed pattern. I can see that the sellers have lost momentum. We have lower low formation with bullish divergence, again continuing type, and MACD histogram has changed to bullish, which means we should expect some upside here in dollar index, and it should go to the highlighted resistance zone, and then it should continue lower. I'm going to apply here. I'll zoom out and I'll show you the structure here. So here we have higher high pattern. So this is H1, H2 rising highs, and we have higher high pattern on MACD lines, and we have higher high pattern on MACD histogram, which means the pullback is to be counted as corrective, and after correction buyers should resume and take it to the highlighted resistance area. I'll quickly apply retracement on the 4-hourly frame from the recent lowest to the new high, and yes, once again we get the zone of 78 to 85 in the same highlighted magnet area, which means the support is now reinforced. So unless dollar index holds above 97.35, I'm expecting short-term bounce and finally reaching to the resistance, highlighted magnetic resistance, and then it should continue in the downward direction. So in short, short-term bounce anticipated and then continuation lower. Now, because right now market is sitting with high greed sentiment, which means most of the institutional traders, they are preferring to put money in high risk assets. So Pacific currencies would be favored, and euro against Australian dollar is running bearish at the moment. I'll start from monthly here. I'll clean my existing setup, and based on the monthly frame, I'm going to highlight the bearish move here. So starting from the highest to the lowest. So whatever is happening right now, so basically the upside is to be counted as correction against the previous downward move. So I'm going to use fib retracement from the highest to the lowest, and I'm going to highlight the bullish structure ABC. So lowest identified, then point B identified, and point C identified. So I will use ABC to mark my first bullish extension for Euro Australian. Let's apply A to B and point B to point C highlighted. So if you notice now, Euro Aussie is blocked by fib resistance precisely at fib extension 100%, and here I'm gonna count the next ABC. So I'm gonna mark vertical line on point C, and I will apply the next ABC in the bullish direction. So starting from C, connecting with the new A, so C is now our 2A. I'll connect with 2B, and I'll connect with 2C now. So I get to see magnet around 85.4 as a resistance, and the current fib resistance is here. Both levels highlighted here. Now if you notice that buyers have lost momentum, I'll bring the vertical line to point C, and we have one more ABC to be applied. So A, B, and C. Let's use this and apply fib extension. So we have applied 3 bullish cycles here. So now I get to see the closest area of resistance. So it is at a resistance, and the closest magnet support on monthly is here. So I'm going to highlight monthly support with blue color here. That's it. And I can see that there are signs of slowdown. So MACD histogram has started slowing down, though MACD lines are still rising. Let's move down to weekly now. Now on the weekly frame, if you see, I'll bring the vertical line to the latest C here, and here I can see that after a massive rise, so this is like double bottom, and double bottom comes with bullish divergence. Buyers, they break the structure. So we have first wave up, corrective down, then we got a very big bullish wave again blocked at the magnet resistance, and we got the drop to the support area. Now if I zoom in, you will see that buyers, they got blocked precisely at the magnet resistance, and from the magnet resistance we got the drop precisely to the magnet support. Now new buyers, they could not create a higher high, and we got the rejection again at the magnet resistance, so they failed. So that's the reason, and I can also see here that we have lost momentum in the bullish direction, and MACD histogram is now running bearish. So I'm expecting short-term correction in Euro Australian. I'll change it to line chart and move to daily now. Now on the basis of daily frame, I can see here that if I apply a rising trend line starting from the vertical line, I'll connect with the latest support area here, and sellers, they have broken the rising trend line. First push down, bounce, and this bounce failed to create a new higher high, and now sellers, they have taken the price slightly lower than the rising trend line, and I'm expecting the continuation in the bearish direction. I'll quickly move down to 4H here, and on the 4-hourly frame I can see that starting from the trend line, so this is the first push down, wave up, again one more push down, we got the divergence here, bullish divergence, but buyers, they failed to break the structure level here. So I'm expecting short-term bearish continuation. I'm gonna highlight the breakup structure area, and I'm gonna use from the top A, B and C. So unless Euro Aussie remains below 1.7970, the next target is 1.7759 followed by 1.7628. So short-term bearish plan for Euro Aussie. Now Pound USD. Now in the current week, we had rate of interest announcement from the Central Bank of England, BOE. They have dropped the rates, but their tone was hawkish, which means pound is again gaining momentum. So I'll start from the monthly frame here. Now on the monthly frame basis, in fact, I'll move to 3 monthly frame here to show you the long-term trend here. So based on 3 monthly chart, I get to see bullish divergence, lower low formation with double bullish. So this becomes the turning point. So I need to apply the breakup structure level here. So let's apply the breakup structure. Now breakup structure is pending. It is not yet done, but I can see that momentum is clearly in the direction of buyers. And inside the latest leg up, I'm getting higher high formation here. I'm gonna apply reverse fib starting from the BUS level to the lowest point to check the fib resistance here. So let's use reverse fib starting from the BUS point to the lowest. And I can see here that buyers, they have crossed slightly higher than 85.4, and they again moved downwards. So basically this area, I need to use a different color here. So basically this area is now acting as super strong support. So 1.3385 is now acting as support. I will move to now monthly chart. Now on the monthly frame, I can see here the latest pattern is we got the higher high formation, and the latest high is above 85.4, and this is H1 and this is H2, and H1 H2 they come with continuation in the higher high pattern, so higher high formation, and I do not see divergence being completed. MACD lines, they're still open and in the bullish direction. Yes, there is loss of momentum on the histogram basis, but there is no completed divergence here. So I'm going to apply a reverse fib here on the last downward move. Now when I apply reverse fib, I get to see another 78 to 85 here on the reverse side. So this area is now acting as super strong support. So we have a bigger 78 and 85 on the bigger leg taken on the 3 monthly frame. So this is 85.4. So we get resistance at 85.4 of the 3 monthly or the monthly chart, and I get support exactly in between 78.6 on the monthly chart. So pound dollar is right now range bound between 1.3581 to 1.3175. Now I'll be moving to weekly chart. Let's change it to line chart. So here, after creating a higher high pattern, this is higher high formation, I get to see higher high formation on MACD lines and higher high formation on MACD histogram. So I was expecting a deeper pullback towards, you can say, 50% or maybe slightly lower, and then continuation. But sellers, they could not break the support of 78.60 taken on the reverse count. So this is now acting as strong support. I do not see any other formation of ABC here. I can see only A and B formation. So I can connect A and B in the rising direction. I'll remove the existing fib retracement lines, and I will bring the retracement from lowest to highest because A and B identified. So A and B identified here. Now I'll be moving to daily, and on the daily frame, I can say that sellers, after bearish divergence was formed. So here is the bearish divergence. Higher high. One second. Yeah. So here I have marked higher highs with bearish divergence on histogram and bearish divergence on MACD lines. So the breakout structure is now intact. So this is the breakout structure level. So sellers, they could not push the price lower than breakout structure. Now there are two probabilities. Number one, sellers can make one more attempt. After buyers, they will stop at the 78%. We can see some deeper retracement, or buyers will take over. They will break the trend line, they will retest the trend line, and they will continue. So I'm going to apply fib retracement now from highest to lowest on the latest downward move, starting from the highest to lowest. Now based on the higher time frame, I can see we have a strong resistance around 1.3581 to 1.3595, and based on the latest downward move, I get to see another 78 to 85 area highlighted here. So above 1.3581, pound USD can also rise towards 1.3634 to 1.3672. Now it all depends. If buyers, they are able to break this resistance, make a perfect retest, then we should see continuation. Otherwise, if buyers, they fail around 1.3672, then I can expect one more leg downwards to complete the correction, deeper correction, and then continuation higher. Any which ways, my plan is to buy the dips. So here I'll be moving to 4H, and on the 4-hourly frame, if you notice, this is the structure. So I'm going to apply a falling trend line here. So currently we are exactly on the falling trend line, but I do not see any major problem for the buyers because MACD lines, they're still rising. There is a slowdown on MACD histogram, so which means there could be a short-term pullback. And if buyers, they hold above, now I need to mark one more retracement starting from the lowest. So this is the last leg up. So if buyers, they hold above 1.3202 to 1.3222, because this is the latest 78 to 85 on the rising leg, highlighted, reinforced. So unless pound dollar remains above 1.3202, and if we see a successful retest and bounce, I'll be expecting continuation. So the plan is to buy the dips. Now the next instrument is USDCAD. I'll start from the monthly here. Now USD on the monthly frame, it has formed bearish divergence. I need to zoom out completely. So the previous big move down, this is highlighted. I'm going to apply fib retracement from the highest to the lowest. So let's start from the highest and go to the lowest here. Done. And buyers, they got blocked exactly at 78%. with bearish divergence. So this is higher high formation and bearish divergence. So on the monthly frame, I can see that buyers have lost momentum and I'm expecting a deeper pullback. At the same time, there is a strong support on the golden line, that is 61 area. So monthly resistance at 78 and monthly support at 61. So let's move on to weekly now. Now on the weekly frame, I can see that sellers, they got blocked. We got the support here and histogram has changed from negative to positive. So I'm expecting short-term correction and then continuation lower. So to check short-term correction, I need to apply here Fib retracement starting from the highest to the lowest. So currently we have not even crossed 23.6. So this is acting as major resistance. It's time to move on to the next frame, that is daily. Now on the daily frame, I can see that we have bullish divergence. So this is the bullish divergence. Breakout structure did not happen, but I can connect the falling trend line. So let's connect the falling trend line here. First, I'm going to mark the BOS level here, applied, and now I'll be connecting the falling trend line starting from the highest. And yes, the falling trend line is breached. So I can see here that buyers, they have created a higher high formation here. So this is H1, H2, H3 higher high sequence, and I can see higher high sequence on MACD lines and higher high sequence on MACD histogram. So after the pullback, there should be continuation in the upward direction to complete the correction, and then the bigger cycle is bearish. So super cycle is still bearish, but inside the bigger bearish cycle, we are now expecting corrective bounce up. We can apply here Fib extension. I can start from the lowest. I can connect with the first high and higher low, applied, and I can see a strong magnet prior to the BOS level. So 1.3918, and the next level in sight is 1.4024. I'll move to 4H now. Now on the 4 hourly frame, the pattern is clearly bullish. I can see here higher high formation after massive move up. Now I can see corrective move down, and the sellers are exhausted in this corrective move containing divergence. Now we need a break above this level or the break of trend line, which is already done, but the momentum is missing. I might see towards, again, okay, let's apply here. So I might see a rally towards 78 to 85 and buyers being blocked. So applied. So I might see rally towards 78 to 85. So worst case scenario, I'm anticipating from the current level that buyers can take the price towards 1.3845. We need to reanalyze once we hit this area. If buyers, they break it convincingly, then on the retest, it should continue. If not, if buyers, they get blocked in this bullish attempt, then we'll be expecting a deeper pullback and then continuation. So this is the plan for USDCAD. At the moment, I'm looking for a rise towards 1.3844. Let's move down to 1H here. Now on the 1 hourly frame, again, I can see bullish divergence. So this is the divergence in sight. Breakup structure did not happen, but breakup trend line is done. And if buyers, they hold above, let me define the price level. So if buyers, they hold precisely above 1.3729, then I'm expecting a rise towards 1.3853. So short-term bullish plan inside for USDCAD. The next instrument is crude oil. Now, crude oil went into the negative spiral. So last month, due to war between Israel and Iran, crude oil spiked. It failed to sustain the bullish rally, and it is now moving lower. I'm going to connect on the 3 monthly frame here. Now on the 3 monthly frame, I can see here lower low formation with bullish divergence, and then we get to see higher high formation. But if I zoom in, you will see that it is now continuously creating a lower high pattern. So high formed, then we get to see lower high, and next lower high. So basically after this massive bullish rally, right now crude oil is under pullback. So I'm going to apply Fib retracement starting from the lowest to the highest. And yes, it got blocked again in between 23.6 to 14.6. So this is going to act as resistance. It acted as resistance, and right now we are exactly on the 50% level. And the next major level is at 61.8. Let's highlight with green here. And the environment is negative based on MACD histogram. I'll be moving to monthly frame now. And on the monthly frame, I need to highlight the highest point. This is A, and here I get to see B, and this is C. So I'm going to use it as ABC in the bearish direction. So I'll be applying my first Fib extension bearish on the monthly frame. Applied. And I'll change the color to red here. So crude oil, it reached to the first magnet. We got the bounce, but this bounce failed to create a new higher high. And I can see now that sellers, they want to take it downwards one more time, maybe towards 61.8, and then continuation higher. Though I don't see massive momentum in the bearish direction in either direction here. So that's it on the monthly frame. I'm moving to now weekly frame here. On the weekly frame, again, it is continuously creating a lower high sequence. So based on the weekly frame, we have high, and then we have lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and lower high. And we have low and lower low sequence. So lower highs and lower lows are continuously being formed. And I do not see bullish divergence on MACD lines. There is divergence only on histogram, but buyers, they failed to break the structural level. So I'll apply a horizontal line on the breakup structure. After the divergence, I'll be using a falling trend line. I'll connect from the highest point to the breakup structure point. And I can see here that buyers, they made an attempt. They broke the falling trend line, but again, price moved quickly below the falling trend line. So the nearest target is here, so which is around $62 mark. I'll be connecting one more Fib extension in the downward direction. So this is the C point taken from the higher time frame. I'll apply a vertical line here, and starting from the vertical line, I'll use one more Fib extension in the bearish direction, and second Fib extension in the bearish direction applied. Now, if sellers, they are able to push the price below $62 mark, then the next target inside would be 54. And I'll be using one more extension. I'll bring the vertical line on point C, and now I'll be counting on the bigger cycle. So let's count. I'll connect. This one is incomplete, so I need to stick to the previous cycle. And now I get to see 57.69, a new level added on the chart. So below $62 mark, I won't be surprised if crude oil drops to 57.69. Let's quickly move down to the daily chart, and I need to bring the vertical line on the latest point. See here. Now on the daily frame, I can see that buyers, they entered into the market after bullish divergence. They completed the breakout structure, and now I am getting some corrective move down. So let's assume that buyers, they have completed the breakout structure and the bullish market started, and I'll be applying Fib retracement from the lowest to the highest. So based on the latest Fib retracement, there is one more level added. So below $62 mark, I can see a major support between 59.5 to 60.64. So in case I see crude oil getting lower than 63.48 or $62 mark, then my next target would be 60.64, and the environment is still negative on the daily time frame. I can also use one more Fib extension on the daily time frame. I'll start from the latest high, low, and then lower high. So basically ABC identified in the bearish direction. So let's use it. So starting from the highest, first low and the next lower high. And I need to change the color to purple here, and I'll increase the thickness. So based on the new Fib extension, right now crude oil is trading below 61.8, that is $64 mark, and I won't be surprised if it breaks below 62, then it is going to 60.40. So 60.64 to 60.40 is the target in sight. Let's bring the vertical line to point C and move to the next lower time frame. Daily completed. Now I'm moving to 4H, and on the 4-hourly frame again I can see a sequence of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and lower highs. I can see that sellers, they look exhausted because of the divergence, but at the same time buyers have not entered into the market. So I believe this is the last move down to flush out, and then a big move up should resume, and we can target 65 from the price level of $60.40, or maybe from $62 mark. The current price is $63.88, so even if you're targeting $62 price in the bearish direction, it makes sense. So once it moves to 62 or maybe around 60.40, with the evidence of bullish divergence and breakup structure, I'll be flipping, and I'll be then adding to my long positions, and I'll be targeting my first level as 65.40. And finally, let's move to gold. I'll start from the 3-monthly frame here. Again, I've taken most of the charts on the 3-monthly frame here to get the clear picture of the longer term. Now, based on 3-monthly chart, gold is in a super strong bullish cycle. So long-term format, long-term pattern is ultra bullish, and there is no doubt about it. I'll be quickly adding a reverse fib on the corrective move down. So here on the 3-monthly frame, reverse fib added. Now I'm switching to monthly frame. Now the latest corrective cycle on the monthly frame is here, identified, and I'll be using a new reverse fib here. Done. Now based on the monthly frame, I'll start my extension from this level. I'm just skipping, I'm not marking on the previous cycle. We have done it multiple times and it doesn't make sense, so I'll be just using my first extension on the monthly frame here. So starting from the lowest, this is the first cycle. I know it is not being confirmed on histogram basis, but yes, I can identify the cycle, and this is done. So 3287 is a major fib extension support, and 3510 is major fib extension resistance, and the plan is bullish. I'll mark the vertical line here. That's it. And the next cycle, now how I'm identifying cycles here, because here I can see in the bullish histogram, in between we have faded lines here, so these are helping me to identify the cycles. So now I'll be connecting my next extension. So starting from the faded line area here, the lowest point, then this is the clear high, and this is the higher low, which is again aligned with the light colored histogram here. So I'm using ABC on the second bullish extension on the monthly frame. Applied. Now based on multiple fib extensions, I can see that it has a very strong magnet support at 3149 to 3175. So this is super strong support, monthly support, and I can see very strong resistance at 3510 highlighted. Bring the vertical line to the latest C and move to the next lower time frame, that is weekly. Now on the weekly frame, I can see that we are still under the pullback, and sellers, they have lost momentum. Negative histogram has changed from deep red to pink, which means momentum is lost, but the picture is not clear because it is right now moving sideways. So here, this is the higher high formation with continuing style bearish divergence, and the sellers, they failed to break the structure here. So this is the magnet support or structure level support, which is now 3196. That's it, nothing more on the weekly frame. And I cannot apply ABC in the bullish direction, or I cannot apply ABC in the bearish direction. I need to move down to daily now. Now on the daily frame, starting from the vertical line, I just need to adjust line to bring it to the lowest. So this is the lowest point identified on daily. So this is daily support. Let's highlight with green again. I can count my extension. I can start my first extension like this. So this is the first cycle bullish on the daily frame. Let's add. So I'll bring my fib extension, start from the lowest of daily, pick the first high, and I'll connect with the higher low. Extension applied. I need to change the color. I'll use blue here. So based on first fib extension on the daily frame, our lines are added, extension lines, and I can see that 3510 to 3525 is now very strong resistance. So resistance reinforced. In between, we have new levels added as magnet support. So 3287 to 3307 is the new magnet support, and we also have fib line support at 3368, and the next resistance is at 3465. And price action is completely sideways, unclear, but MACD histogram is hinting towards continuation in the bullish direction. I'll bring the vertical line to point C, and I'll try to pick the next fib extension, the bigger cycle here. So I'll start from the lowest, connect with the highest, and the next magnet support level. So a new fib extension added in the bullish direction, and I'll bring the vertical line to point C here. That's it, and I'm gonna zoom closer, and this is the formation here. So I can see here lowest point, high, and then this forms double bottom here. So I'm expecting fib extension, and I'm expecting here after sideways consolidation, maybe one more push down, and then it should continue higher. So starting from the fib from the vertical line, I'll be adding a new fib extension here on the daily chart. Let's add a new fib extension, and I can see here that 3435 is the closest resistance, 3368 is the closest support, followed by 3307. So this area is now acting as strong resistance. So resistance magnet identified and support magnet identified. So the range in play is from 3273 to 3435 to be extended to 3465. Right now we are slightly short of 3435. Let's bring the vertical line on point C here, and I can add one more cycle, but it will just clutter my chart. I'm moving to 4-hourly frame now. Now on the 4-hourly frame, I can see that the latest vertical line is here, which is from the bullish divergence area on histogram, but not on MACD lines. And this is the breakout structure. We got the first move up, then we got a bigger move up, then we got the consolidation. So basically, because it is in the range bound format, so we are getting like equal lows here. Cycles are not being completed, and the last bearish leg is identified. So this is the last bearish leg. So I'm starting from the highest to the lowest, and the current move up is still counted as corrective. Reason being, buyers, they have not closed the price higher than 3435. So I'll quickly apply a reverse fib. Basically, I'll start from the highest to the lowest here. Applied. And right now we are blocked precisely again at 78.6 to 85.4. So I'm expecting that from the current level around 3397 to 3408, momentum is lost, buyers are exhausted, there could be a fake break or maybe rejection from this area, and the retest of 3311, maybe 3297. So this is the deepest level I can expect, and then continuation higher. Why I'm expecting continuation higher? Because higher time frames are ultra bullish, clearly bullish. So do not buy at the current price. Wait for the dip. Do not get trapped here around the resistance area. 85.4 is always acting as super strong magnet resistance. Wait for the rejection. First downside target would be 3371, followed by 3352, then 3334. Ultimately, if it reaches to 3311, you can confidently add your long positions. You can target 3435 as your first target, followed by 3465, ultimately 3491, and then we have a cluster of fib lines around $3,500 mark. So my plan is to buy the dips. I'll be buying around 3297 to 3311. In fact, I'll be adding my long positions using my RM algo, and I'll be holding my grid buy positions for the target of 3491 to 3500. I hope my today's video was helpful. If you like my content, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, stay sharp and trade smart. I'll see you next week.